But before we get started, I actually want to make a promise to you guys. By the time that this call ends, I'm guaranteeing that you guys are going to write down 3 notes at least in your notebook. And if you don't, please throw it in the chat and tell me, because I'm going to just keep throwing more tips and tricks at you. So everybody walks away with at least 3 points. Okay, I'm a little bit nervous that I just made such a big promise, but actually, please hold me accountable. You guys all just gave up 1 hour of your day, so it is my goal that I make this really valuable for all of you. And I'm really excited because I think we've got some really effective tactics that we're going to be able to share to really help you in your event marketing as you plan the rest of this year out. And whether you're brand new to marketing or you've been doing this for years, we have designed this session for you. But before we get started, I wanted to share a quick story to help you to just kind of chat about what the impact of good marketing can have on your fundraising. During the pandemic, Shannon was really close to having to shut down her entire organization. They lacked the funds that they needed to support the programs that they ran, and she was worried she was going to have to let go of most of her employees. But Shannon didn't want to give up. So she started planning an event with a simple goal of raising $40,000. It was going to be just enough to keep them open. And you might know what that felt like. The pandemic has been so hard for so many of organizations. And as an organization that supports a lot of moms and a lot of single parents, Shannon just couldn't let them down. But through a strategic focus on social media, email marketing, and utilizing her event partners and network to reach a wider audience, Shannon was able to raise just over $220,000 in less than 24 hours. And a huge piece of her success came from leveraging her event partners, which is a strategy that we're actually going to talk about today. I know that not all of you are coming from the same starting point. Some of you might not have large networks, email lists, or budgets like Shannon did that you can rely on. But with the tactics that we're going to talk about, I think that there's going to be something that's going to work for every single one of you. So here's where we're going. Let's briefly discuss what event marketing schedules look like and dive deeper into the types of social media content that catches attention, and then get into what to do if you don't have a big email list or social media following. Today, towards the end, we'll also discuss how data collection can help you build a marketing list and then reiterate your strategy. Just as a heads up, we are going to go pretty quick through the first 2 and then really dive into the last 2, which is event partners and data tracking. Throughout this session, I'm going to try and share with you guys as many real life examples as possible and just give you some more ideas from organizations that have succeeded with their fundraising and marketing efforts. My goal for the end of our time here is that you'll walk away with some really clear next steps on how to market your next fundraising event and how to track it all effectively. In addition to all of that, we have put together a guide on event marketing that goes much further into depth than what I can talk about here. So you can use the link in the chat right now to download the guide. And what I would do is I would kind of think about the talk like step 1. And then the guide, it's going to be like step 2. So we actually cover all of the same content in the guide, but we also include more details and examples and steps like how to build posts or examples to follow, and then more advice from industry expert partners and worksheets or checklists, all designed to help make sure that you aren't missing anything. Okay, before we get into all of that, probably a good time to do a quick intro about who we are. We are from Trellis. We build fundraising software for events, auctions, and raffles, and we work exclusively with charities and nonprofits. We build tools to help charities with all of their events, from galas to golf tournaments, and have supported hundreds of charities as they run fundraisers on our platform. As we've been supporting all of these organizations, we have learned a ton from their successes and failures. I've personally been involved in helping about 300 of these events happen and helping charities as they execute them. So I'm going to be sharing with you some of my favorite ideas and tips to make your fundraising events a success too. I'm Rebecca, and I'm here with one of my colleagues, Zoe, who's hanging out in the chat. So if you have questions as we're talking, please throw them in the chat or use the Q&A, and we would love to answer them. We will be saving some questions for the very end to do as part of our Q&A as well. Me and my team, we are joining you from the unceded territory of the Sioux people. And we also wanted to take a second here to just pause and recognize the land that we get to live and work on. So like I said earlier, we're going to move pretty quick through the first two sections and really dive into the last two. And because we're going quick, if you have questions at all, please make sure to throw them in the chat. But the first thing we wanted to do was go all the way back to square one and talk about the entire event marketing schedule before we dive into the specifics on how to execute on each of these pieces. Now, I've put together a really rough timeline, but know that these timeframes, they might look totally different for your organization, and that's totally okay. First, what you're going to do is start planning your event. And that actually happens the day that your last event ends. You'll want to announce your next event during the current event and start sharing it with your attendees through email too. After that, we're going to go into ticket sales launching, and you're going to start doing that right away too. And when you do so, you're going to email past attendees to invite them. You'll use your email newsletter to let your donors know kind of first about the next event you've got coming up. And you're going to start posting it on social media. You'll also want to message all of your event partners and ask them to share it with their network too. But we're going to get a little bit further into what that looks like and how to do that in just a sec here. Then in the next few weeks or months leading up to the event, you'll want to increase the frequency of all of your marketing tactics, including social media and emails. And in the last couple of weeks before the event, you're going to start doing more personal reach outs to encourage your donors to attend. And this could be like a really simple phone call or just even a personal email that you're sending their way. We personally love the idea of a personal phone call. It could be a really simple 2-minute call from a leader in your organization, just letting people know what you've got planned for the event, and also a direct invitation to attend. Not only does this go a really long way for your donors in just building that personal connection, but it can help you build some really valuable relationships that are going to pay off for your organization long into the future too. Then in the final weeks before the event, you're going to want to make sure to keep reminding everybody, your event partners, to reshare posts about your event or create their own announcements about their involvement with your fundraiser too. We've seen some really creative ideas, and one of the ideas that we heard actually came from another member at Trellis, and she heard this idea and it's quickly become one of our favorites. I would take a screenshot now just so you can save it and use it for your next fundraiser too. But this organization needed to find more ways to incentivize donors to buy tickets sooner. Pretty common problem. I'm sure a lot of you guys are sitting there kind of resonating with that thought too. But what they did is they decided to turn to discounts or entries or special gifts to encourage more activity up at the beginning. So this one organization, they actually involved their sponsors. They asked their sponsors to donate 100 bottles of wine. And for the first 100 people that bought tickets, they got a complimentary bottle of wine to enjoy during the event, if it was virtual or in person. Okay, I don't know about you guys, but if there is a bottle of wine that is potentially on the line here, I am definitely going to buy my ticket sooner. And I can guarantee probably a lot of my friends are going to do the same thing too. So as you think about your organization, maybe it's wine, maybe it's not, but think about the different ways that you can get your donors to participate. How can you get them to start buying tickets sooner? And what are some incentives or easy add-ons you can include that's going to also encourage that participation? Like I said, we're going to go fast. So we are going to jump into social media here. But if you have any questions about event strategy, kind of at a high level, or timelines for your event, if you want to just take a second now and throw it in the chat. Zoe is there and would love to answer any questions right away, or she will save some and we'll just do them as a Q&A at the very end. And let's also jump into social media. I actually would also love to hear from you guys. So maybe you can also throw this in the chat at the same time here. Is social media a struggle for your organization, or is it something that you feel like you're succeeding with? We would love to know how it feels for you. And I think it is really exciting for us too, to see kind of, yeah, where is everybody at? Struggle, 50-50 split. What else? What else are we hearing? Unclear messaging is potentially the issue. Cool. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. The more and more that we talk to people, I feel like people are kind of all over the board. We've got some people that are like, yeah, social media is a struggle. We don't really know where to do or where to start. Other people, and a lot of people are kind of in that 50-50 split. Maybe some platforms work really well, some platforms just don't. And then there are some organizations that are like, no, we cracked the code, we are succeeding. But yeah, we figured out what works and we're kind of sticking with it. Let's see, somebody plateaued, better since hiring out. Awesome. Yes, outsourcing, things like that is a great place to start if your organization can do so. Just starting a strategy, perfect timing then to check in here. Social media is a struggling. Cool. It's so busy and you can't be seen. Yeah, it's hard. Okay, well, hopefully some of these ideas are going to give you some ideas that can help you as you're building out your strategy and also to cut out some of the noise. So what we've done is we've worked with a lot of organizations, and we like I said, we aren't we're in the fundraising platform space, but as we've chatted with more and more organizations, we're starting to learn what's working for them and what's not. And we found that there are 5 key elements that organizations are including into their social media posts, which are really working. I'm going to walk through all of them, and then let's also take a look at an example so you can see what it looks like in action here too. The first one is a catchy and clear call to action. So again, making it really evident and that messaging really tight. And then an easy to read and remember link, an engaging image, attention grabbing captions, and tagging and hashtagging to spread the words. Like I said, let's take a look at a social media post that did really well. And I, in particular, love this post from Georgian Bay General Hospital Foundation. So the first thing that they see, or the first thing on here, is that they've got a really clear call to action to register for the event. And it's great. It gives an easy and really direct next step for people to take. Their call to action is help raise more money for Georgian Bay General Hospital by registering for free at this link. It's direct. Donors know exactly what they're being asked to do as well. So when you're thinking about captions, be direct and active in your tone so that your donors are really clear on what to do and actually what action they need to take from here. The next thing they have is a link. Now on Instagram, they make it a little bit more challenging. So you have to either put your link in the bio at the top of your page, or like these guys, an easy link that you can copy and paste in your description works really well too. Other social media platforms make it a lot easier. You can always just click on the link directly within the post and it takes you wherever you need to go. But I like the way these guys have done it. They've made it so easy that it is really quick to kind of copy and paste just within the link or just within their description here. Third, they've got an engaging photo. So for all of you out in Ontario or really across Eastern Canada, if you know Lane, then you know that this event is going to be really fun. Lane the Auctionista has an amazingly captivating smile. Their bright pink jacket also just helps draw the eye too. They then also added in a great caption, and they started with words like record breaking to help get more attention. So as you're creating your social media posts, I'd encourage you to use words that bring a sense of urgency and excitement to get your donors engaged as they're scrolling through on social media. And they used another tactic, which is to help get their posts more engagement and a wider reach. They tagged the individuals involved and encouraged them to reshare the post as well. If you want to go one step further, you can also include hashtags and use this to increase your engagement as well on your post and make it just more relevant and searchable. Especially with hashtags and tags in general, you may not see the return instantly on things like this, but the payoff is definitely there in the long run as you start building out your social media posts. Okay, as you're looking at this, you might be like, wow, Rebecca, this is super awesome. I love it, but I don't have somebody dedicated to social media, or I don't have a graphic designer in my back pocket who can create graphics that look like that. And so what we've done is in our guide, we also recommended our favorite tools to create Instagram worthy posts for free. And our guide also has a template to create your own social media posts based on those 5 key elements that I just messaged. So if you haven't grabbed it now or haven't grabbed it yet, here's a really good chance to quickly grab it, or it is, like I said, in the chat as well. And so feel free to pull it from there as well. And before we move on from social media, I would love to know if anybody has any questions. Again, throw them in the chat. We will definitely get to those at the end and make sure all of those get answered for you. Now, you might be thinking, okay, I've never done an event before, so I don't have an old list to go back to, or I don't have a big social media following, or an email list I can rely on, and I don't have budget for online ads. And even if I did, I probably wouldn't even know where to start. So what about me? If that is you right now, your saving grace is going to be utilizing your event partners and your network to really increase your marketing efforts and reach a wider audience. And now you may be wondering, what do we mean by event partners? And truly, we mean every single person that is included and involved in the execution and planning of your event. And before you start thinking, I don't think I have any of those, I thought, why don't we make a list together of who's included in that group, just so you can think about who you can include in your next event planning too. So first, let's start with our donors. Maybe you've got a live auction, or maybe you've got a silent auction and you've got 10 items in it. Now, right there, you have 10 people that you can reach out to, all of them your auction item sponsors. Maybe you're working with a restaurant that's going to be providing the food for your event as a restaurant sponsor. Or you've got in-kind sponsors that are providing other elements, decor or technology for the event. And then you also have your monetary sponsors on top of that too. Your organization also has supporters. So this would be your volunteers, your staff, your board members, and then any key donors. And I'm curious who it is for you guys in that group and how you can engage those individuals, which again, it's going to look different based on who they are and the relationships you have with them. Or maybe you've got community influencers and thought leaders in your community or in your industry. How can you engage that group and how can you ask them to share what you're doing? Remember that these are all people that already love your organization and will be happy to share it. They maybe just haven't thought about it, or they need to ask in order to start doing it more frequently. Next, you're going to have your talent. So any speakers, hosts, auctioneers, or performers or bands that are all participating in your event. Again, these individuals tend to have a following already, so leverage this as much as possible for your organization and the event that you've got coming up. And then lastly, you've got your event partners, which we kind of talk about as our fundraising professionals. The AV team, the venue, your event planners, fundraising consultants, or production company as well. Keep in mind that your fundraising professionals, especially local to your organization, are going to be much more willing to share the event just because, again, it's in the same market as them and they've already got relationships and connections in that specific community or that specific demographic. So now that we know who our event partners are, we wanted to make it really easy, and you want to really set those expectations early in order to engage them really well. And there are kind of 3 simple ideas that you can do to start thinking about this process. First thing, tag your partners on social media and encourage them to reshare your posts. We just talked about the 5 different elements you need to make a really captivating social media post. And part of that is definitely tagging your partners. So that's a great place to start. And again, it's so captivating with your new post that you've just learned how to build. They're going to want to share it on their social media platforms too. The next thing is make it really easy for them to share. Maybe you create a Google Drive or a Dropbox with a bunch of example social media posts that they can use, and you've even got some suggested captions in there. Sometimes it can be a bit challenging for other people to know what exactly to say about an event or what they can call out or what they maybe shouldn't say because they don't know what's being kept as a surprise. When you do things like create sample social media posts and put it in a Google Drive or give some suggested captions that people can use. And again, it just really takes the burden off them to try and figure out what to do and makes the process so easy that they honestly have no excuse not to do it. And then lastly, add it to your partner contract. Maybe there's some other ways that make sense for your organization to get that promotion. Think about those things and see how you can add it into your contract so that right from the day one, as you're starting these conversations, that commitment and that involvement with posting on social media is just a given and they know exactly what they need to do and what's going to be expected of them. Another idea that you're probably going to want to steal and screenshot right now is to make inviting people a game. And we actually mean that. With your organization supporters, give them each a custom affiliate link and set some goals around how many invites you want them to send out. Give them the email template and set expectations. Then each week, give an update on how many emails were sent from each person or each group that you've asked to participate in this little competition. And whoever the current winner is, thank them for their participation. Then towards the end, or once the event has passed, you can give a prize to the person that sent out the most invitations that resulted in the most people buying tickets through our affiliate links too. With your event partners, as well as your own reach out, email communication is really key. Consistent emails pushing to your fundraiser, reminding people to buy tickets, giving them updates, getting people excited so you can help drive more engagement. All of those things really matter. And I'd really encourage you to plan a strategy around this in particular. Use email drip campaigns and regular emails to keep your engaging and existing email list and donors really excited and engaged with what you're doing for your fundraiser. In the guide, we actually talk about each sponsor type in particular and some really great ways to engage all of your partners based on sponsor type. Unfortunately, we just honestly don't have the time right now to really get into all of them. So again, I'd encourage you to grab the guide and you can review all of the different sponsor types you have or partner types you have in there and some specific ideas around engaging all of them and promoting your event alongside them each. Now we are going to move on to our last section here, which is all about data collection. But again, if you have any questions about event partners, make sure to throw them in the chat now. We will definitely answer your questions either right away, or we will also do some Q&A after we've wrapped up here in just a few more minutes. So as exciting as it is to focus on getting the word out there, it is also so important to track what you're learning and which marketing efforts are working for your organization so that next fundraiser, you can really drill down on what's actually working. Again, like everything else, there are so many different ways you can approach this, but we wanted to give you the most effective and the easiest ways to get started. And the first really simple way that we have for you is to start with some custom questions at checkout so that when your guests are buying tickets, you can ask them how they heard about your event. You'll have the most success if you make this option a question that people are required to fill out when they're buying their tickets and including something like a drop-down list for each of the different marketing efforts you had. So first, when you're setting up your ticketing page, you can add a question that says something along the lines of, where did you hear about this fundraiser? And you'll include some drop-down options like a friend or family member, social media, an event partner social media, an email edition, like an email newsletter, or whatever those specifics are that you have. If you want to get even more specific, you can even add in an additional question asking for the exact name of the friend or company that also referred them. Then when your donors go to support your event, they'll see this question when they're buying their tickets. And if you've made it required for them to fill out, you can get all of that information in one really easy place. And don't be afraid to make changes as you go. If right at the beginning you start to notice that everybody is coming to your event through social media, use that information to your advantage to really steer how you keep promoting your event. You don't have to wait until the end of your fundraiser to learn from the data that's being collected. But as well, once you've wrapped up your event and you've collected all that information, you can now use that information about what marketing strategies and channels are working the best so you can make better decisions moving forward for your next event. This is going to help you focus more of your time, your energy, and your potential money towards what's actually worked for your organization. Another great tactic I want to briefly touch on, and I just mentioned it a few minutes before as well, is affiliate marketing links. So with your fundraising page URL, you can create specific links for different social media platforms, websites, event partners, board members, or anywhere else or anybody else you can think of to help people find your page. Then after the event, you can see which channels drove the most engagement for your ticket sales. And what you can do with your affiliate marketing links is you can see exactly how many dollars have come through based on each of the different channels that you've now set up. And if this is all new to you, don't worry, we are going to go through some next steps in just a minute here around how you can get started with all of this as well. So now that you are engaging more people with your fundraiser, we want to make sure that you continue to grow more people with your email list. Again, you want to make sure that everybody that signs up for this event has, you've got their email. So in the future, you can keep reaching out to them and encouraging them to come back to more fundraising events that you have. This will make it significantly easier the next time you have an event to promote if you've already got a donor base to reach out to. And again, there are two easy ways that you can do this. One, you can add a note to your tickets, letting people know that they will be added to an email list. Or two, you can add another custom question at checkout, asking people if they wish to be added to an email list. And if you're worried about the double opt-in, no need to. All you have to do is after the event, you can follow up with all your newly collected email addresses with an email and just ask them to confirm if they want to still be on your list. Not only will this help you achieve that double opt-in and help you create an email list that you're ready to use to market your next fundraising event, but it's also a fantastic time to reach out, thank your new donors for their support, and even ask some more questions. How did you hear about our organization? Or how and why did you choose to support our organization right now? Okay, that was a lot of information. So let's quickly review what we've talked about so far. But there is also one more thing I do want to mention that's actually really important that we'll get to at the end here. So first, we talked about event marketing schedules, click-worthy social media posts, event partners, and now data collection and email collection. But the last piece that I wanted to mention is actually really important. And you guys might not take it as seriously, but in fact, I do think that it has to be the most important part of your fundraising event. That is, you need a software that you can use to support your event marketing. And I'm going to tell you why. It single-handedly has the ability to change your success. And the wrong software, it won't have custom checkout fields that you can use, which again, it might only sound like one thing, but if you don't ask your donors the right information and the right questions, you're not going to get the right insights that are going to help you grow your charity. And if you don't have options to customize your social media posts, then again, you won't be able to create engaging posts that get your audience excited and drive more traffic to your event, which ultimately helps raise more money for your cause. And before today, how many of you guys knew what affiliate marketing links were? And if you did, were you using them? We're finding that a lot of organizations, if they know about them or not, are not using affiliate marketing links. And we think that that's a big mistake. Your software should be able to give that to you. And if it doesn't, again, you need to start looking for software that can support affiliate marketing link so you can really drill down on what's actually working and how tracking your fundraising, you can choose what channels you want to actually focus on moving forward. And finally, event analytic tools. You need to learn about what worked well for your event after the event as well. And if you can't see the analytics or the results or see page views after the event, then this is something you need to start looking into. Again, these insights are really critical if you want to improve your marketing strategy and raise more for your organization. Okay, I know that was a ton of information that I just shared. So thank you so much all for listening. I'm Rebecca. I'm part of the team at Trellis, and you can see all of my contact details on the screen. I would love to chat with you and learn more about what you've got coming up for your next fundraiser. And if any of those points resonated, the different elements you need for a successful fundraising event, custom checkout fields, customizing social media posts, affiliate marketing links, or event analytic tools, those are all things we can actually help you with at Trellis, as well as all your fundraising elements. So I would encourage you to book a link or to book a demo with our team. We would love to chat with you and kind of share some more examples and fundraising insights with you. But let's